I'm going to ask my assistant. Oh, we're live stream. I'm going to ask my assistant to go ahead and start our recording. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Susie Jackson, and I want to welcome you to our Nature's Frequencies Saturday presentation. We are so excited that you have joined us to discover the power of nature's frequencies. At the end of this presentation, we're going to be doing something really exciting. We're going to give away some free product. We're also going to announce some exciting special promotions. So please stay with us as long as you can. Brief disclaimer first, please note that the information regarding nature's frequencies, products, websites, or associated materials have not been evaluated by any regulatory authority and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. This presentation should not be used as a substitute for the advice of an appropriately qualified and licensed physician or other healthcare provider. This presentation is for informational purposes only, and I'm so excited for us to get started and to share with you the mission and vision of Nature's Frequencies. Nature's Frequencies is now a successful, actually 9-year-old company that has been manufacturing and marketing many products exclusively through health and medical professionals since 2013. Nature's Frequencies offers innovative, cutting-edge health and wellness, food preservation, and EMF protection products. As a matter of fact, we are a world leader in EMF protection. The product line includes the most advanced energetic health and wellness technology, and it's designed to balance and to restore our body's natural energy flow to help our bodies achieve optimal health and wellness energetically. This innovative energetic technology truly is the future of health, wellness, food preservation, and EMF protection, and it's available now. We owe it all to our amazing company owners who are wonderful. They put people over profits. They want to help you lead your best life. It's a father and son team. Rick Hassler is our CEO and founder. Rick has been a successful business owner, selling his previous business as an Inc. 500 company after operating it for 25 years. And his son, RJ, is our president and founder. RJ is the driving force behind the company. He created and developed this technology along with his father, Rick. Now, Nature's Frequencies is no stranger to awards and recognition for their products and their U.S. Patented technology. As a matter of fact, Nature's Frequencies has now won 15 awards, including the very prestigious Gold Edison Award. Nature's Frequencies has been issued 6 U.S. patents for their innovative technology, and they have more patents that are pending. Nature's Frequencies has been featured on Fox Business News, on the Stuart Varney and Company, as well as being featured in USA Today and many other media outlets around the world for their innovations and their excellence. So this gives us a powerful validation for the Nature's Frequencies technology and products. Now, it's all inspired by a genius, and his name is Nikola Tesla. He was a physicist, inventor, electrical and mechanical engineer, and a futurist. And he said something really, really smart. He said, if you want to find the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, because everything is energy and everything has an energy factor, even you and me. Nature's Frequencies has patented the process of replicating the energy factor, the frequency, the vibration. There's several ways you can refer to it from nature, and then programming them into wearable health technology. And then in turn, this wearable health technology works in harmony with the body's own innate intelligence to safely direct the right amount of energy to the right place at the right time and in the right amount. So here's the problem that everybody on the planet is facing. Our bodies are energy, and every day our bodies are being bombarded by internal and external stressors to our energy system. And it's coming from chemicals, from toxins, electromagnetic radiation, stress, worry, physical and emotional trauma, and the list goes on and on. Now, when your body's energy flow is drained, blocked, imbalanced, or interrupted by these stressors, then you feel discomfort and other symptoms. And when your body's energy frequencies and vibrations are recharged and they're balanced and optimized, well, that's when you feel naturally healthy and energetic. So we have the solution here at Nature's Frequencies. We have invented and patented the most advanced energetic health and wellness technology that is designed to balance and to restore your body's natural energy flow to help your body achieve optimal health and wellness energetically. When you place the health and wellness technology products on your body or anywhere in your energy field, then your body absorbs those beneficial frequencies that it needs in the amount that it needs when it needs them to help you achieve and maintain optimal health, energy, and vitality, both naturally and energetically. Now, Nature's Frequencies has an array of products that we offer. We call them lifestyle essentials because these are powerful products to help you energize your body and energize your life. On Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m., we go over each individual product. But today, we are excited to introduce to you our very special guest speaker. His name is Dr. Stan Lang. He's on the Nature's Frequencies Medical Advisory Board. Dr. Stan has used the Nature's Frequencies energetic home health and wellness products extensively, both personally and professionally. So he's going to share his experience and his expertise on how to incorporate these products into a holistic lifestyle to achieve physical and emotional well-being. Dr. Stan is also a member of our Health and Medical Advisory Board, which consists of health professionals from various health and medical fields that assist in the formulation, development, and the testing of our new products. He's been a family practitioner for over 30 years and takes a holistic approach to health and wellness. So I'm also excited to bring on Rick and RJ Hassler. They're going to share their powerful vision and mission with you and all about our products. So Rick, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Susie, and thank you everyone for joining us. And Dr. Stan, you've been a general practitioner for about 40 years. I know you research everything, and you've seen thousands of patients and probably every issue there is. So we would like to thank you for sharing your time and your knowledge. And I want to start going into one of the topics that is really a concern of yours. Can you first welcome everybody? And can you explain about restorative sleep? Tell us about it, why it's important, and how we can help.
Can you hear me all right?
Perfect.
Good. So restorative sleep is something that I have a personal interest in because there's been many years that I didn't get it. So one of the reasons I didn't get it was being interrupted a lot at night with phone calls. But as time has gone by, the bigger reason why I wasn't getting good restorative sleep sort of escaped me. I didn't understand why I wasn't sleeping well. But I did study it a lot and trying to come up with solutions that were not medication based, did a variety of different herbal products. And then I started to encounter research on the dangers of EMF on the brain, in particular on sleeping. And that was a real eye-opening experience for me. And I started to study how do you apply this research practically, because EMF is all around us. And so that's when I started to study earthing or grounding technology. But basically, restorative sleep happens when your brain is allowed to go through the various phases of what we call normal sleep, which ultimately ends up in delta wave sleep, which is where that's the deepest brain wave that we normally measure. And that's where healing happens in the body. That's when the brain starts to restore your body. And it starts with your feet, and then it works its way all the way up to your head and eventually gets to itself. But it only gets to itself if it's had a chance to. And if it doesn't even get into delta wave brainwave activity, it doesn't do this restorative process. And so people wake up feeling achy or stiff. They wake up feeling they've got brain fog because their brain didn't get restored while they were sleeping. And one of the things that happens is that the brain wave actually, it's like it goes through a car wash. There's a flushing of the cerebrospinal fluid. And that happens as a result of this restorative sleep. And if you don't get into restorative sleep, you literally can't do this very well. And if you completely remove sleep, as you probably know, that's a torture technique that will drive people crazy. And it does. So a lot of people, probably 40 to 50% would be my guess, are wandering through life, not getting restorative sleep and not feeling well as a result of it.
So, and you've seen a lot of this over the years. And I know you personally told me that you had insomnia and you found our earthing card. Well, first, let's go to earthing. Please tell everybody, you've been earthing for about 20 years because of this. Can you please explain the different types of earthing and how it helps? And
so, yeah, the original earthing that I became aware of was based on research that was done around 2000 or so, a little bit before then. And what it basically involved was the need to be in contact with the earth to be able to absorb the earth's excess electrons that allow all sorts of things to happen to our body. If our body is in contact with the earth, these electrons flow in very rapidly and they have very powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Doesn't matter where it is. It's like taking super antioxidants when you're in touch with the earth's energy. Well, what I didn't realize at that time was there's a second energy that's playing a role in the rehabilitation of the body with the earth, and that's the Schumann resonance and other resonances that are the frequency, literally the frequency that the earth gives off. So the thing that I was focusing on before I came across nature's frequencies was this flow of electron stuff. So you can purchase technologies. In fact, I have my feet on one right now that I'm actually connected with the earth because my house and your house has a ground in it. It's a big stake that goes right into the earth. And then the whole electrical system of your house is connected to that stake, which allows you to have a grounding part of your electrical outlets. So the earthing card or the grounding mat plugs into that ground only, doesn't plug into the rest of the outlet. And so electrons are free to flow. And you can measure this easily with a voltmeter. So it's easy to see the dramatic difference in the energy flowing into and through you when you use one of these different meters.
okay, so that's one type with the ions going through your body. Then you learned about the Schumann Resident 7.83 and the benefits of that to your body. And then you got our little wonderful earthing card, which I love. And tell us what happened to your insomnia. I can't stop the calls of people calling you in the middle of the night, but tell us about how that helped.
Yeah, so actually, I didn't get that card at first. As I think I told you, I ended up with, I did have access to the food freshness card, and I had some of the Emf Shields. So I stuck an Emf Shield on the food freshness card, which I imagine had some similar features in it. I didn't know, but I stuck it by my head, and immediately I slept much better once that happened. And then when I started to get the earthing card, that was only enhanced, and it still is enhanced. It doesn't degrade over time.
We love hearing that. And you keep an earthing card with you every day, correct? Why? And explain, please.
Yeah. So, and this is kind of a funny story because I have literally kept an earthing card with me every day, except when I'm on the beach. It's easy to lose.
Yeah.
But and the beach is a pretty good place to get earthing energy. So, but everywhere else, pretty much, I haven't gone without having this earthing card on me because it's doing something that we'll talk about in a moment. But two nights ago, I left it at the office because I've been skiing at night near a place near my office, and I took it out of my pocket and I set it someplace. And so I got home and I didn't have it or them because I have several. And that night, which was 2 nights ago, I didn't sleep well. It's amazing because I slept okay. I slept better than when my insomnia was at its worst, but I didn't sleep well and I was foggy all day. And last night, of course, I remembered the earthing card and I slept really, really well once again. I know beware a research of one person, but it's an interesting thing. I wasn't planning on doing a test before this.
I love it. All right. While we're on the subject of tests, we've for years, range of motion increases with the earthing card. I will never play tennis without an earthing card in my pocket. I ski also with an earthing card in my pocket. My body functions better with an earthing card. Now, anybody can do this. Just take your hands, stand up, and twist. Put the earthing card between your hands, twist. I went about 20% further. Now, Dr. Stan tests everything. He is a thorough researcher. Can you tell us if you tried this and what happened?
Yeah, I did try that and it did work. And I've seen sort of similar demonstrations before where people demonstrate improved range of motion. But the interesting part of this one is if you take the earthing card out of your hands and try it again, your range of motion is restricted back to where it was. And then when you put the card back there, you'll gain that 10 to 20% range of motion without any effort. It's not like you got to strain to get there. So it's definitely, and it's immediate. It's immediate on, immediate off. And so it has this an effect that it essentially is you have released some of the tension in your muscles, which allows you to rotate more.
So explain a little bit more of what you believe it's doing, because I honestly, I do this and you're right. As soon as you take your hands off, you're back to normal. Let's go to the Schumann Resident. Yeah, right. Let's go to the Schumann Residence. I've been told that the brain functions at the Schumann Residence 783. I believe that our body is also functioning, and the 783 from the earthing card, the Schumann Residence, is helping. Could that be possible? Or, what do you think is going on? Or explain relaxing more.
Okay, so I don't know what's the magic potion that goes into this, just for as far as anybody listening to this, I don't know what's in it, except I know that your claim is that it does have the Schumann Resonance at least programmed into it, at least. So that is, as Rick just said, 7.83 hertz. Well, in the brain waves that we have 5 major brain waves that we know about, or that have been measured. And the one that we mostly dwell in during the day is beta. And beta has a pretty wide range, and that's associated with alertness. But where most people are at the high end of beta, which is not good, that's a stress response. And so high beta is stress. Well, just below beta is what we call alpha. Now, alpha brain waves are at 10 hertz approximately. Actually, the range is from 8 to 11. So 8 is mighty close to 7.83. And so basically, the earthing card is simulating the same effect you would get as if you went out, walked barefoot in the grass, and hugged a tree. Well, you might get maybe not the same effect as that, but don't hug a tree, but just touch the tree. But anyway, you're getting the full force of the Earth's energy, not of the Earth's frequency that is called the Schumann resonance, which is generated. The Earth is literally pushing up this wave that goes up to the ionosphere, then it bounces back, comes back down. And that's all generated by lightning all around the world. So it's a continuously generated machine, so to speak, that is in sync with alpha in our brain. So our brains, over whether you believe in creation or evolution, our brains have been developed to know what alpha feels like. And so alpha induces relaxation. When you have something that feels like alpha, you are more relaxed. So your brain isn't just generating like one brain wave all the time. It's generating all these different brain waves, different parts of the brain. But if it's almost all beta, you're going to feel stressed all the time. If you have a lot more alpha in there, which you can have even with your eyes open, then you're going to feel much more relaxed, because that's what alpha does. It relaxes you. It makes you more creative. It makes you more reflective. So when you close your eyes, you automatically turn on alpha wave generation.
Very cool. You know, I love listening to you because you are a wealth of knowledge. You know, when people are in high-rise buildings, and now that my son lives in a high-rise in Boston, you know, we used to fly 3 times a month all around the country. We never had jet lag, but we always had an earthing card with us. Are there benefits in a high-rise to have an earthing card, and why?
Well, as I said before, I do think that there are 2 elements to this concept of earthing. And the one element is the direct contact where you have electron flow. And there's a lot of benefit. There's been a lot of research. There's hugely helpful to the body to do that. But that electron flow into the house did not carry the Schumann resonance with it. And so the Schumann resonance is what's syncing with my brain and saying, relax, get out of your stress mode and relax more. And allows me to focus without stress. And when you go farther from the earth, you are going to be farther from that Schumann resonance. It's not as intense up in the air as it is right where you're touching the ground. That's where it's at its greatest intensity. Just like any other generator in your house, if it's, you know, if you get farther away from something, a signal, a radio station, you get farther away, the signal fades. It has less intensity. It's still there, but your device can't pick it up, and your brain can't pick up the frequency as well when you're too high up.
So I got to tell you, I like your unintentional test of forgetting our earthing card, because you kind of just explained what happened to your brain when it didn't have it, correct?
Well, I think so. I mean, I do a lot of things to try to help, as I said, sleep. I didn't abandon them. But I think that it definitely adds an extra dimension, huge extra dimension, not just a like marginal. It's a very big dimension for at least me, and I think for anybody with insomnia, that it would be very likely that it would help them.
We love that.
Which is like 40% of people. So,
no, we love
and probably more of the rest of them aren't getting as good a sleep as they think. They think they're getting good sleep, but they don't know what good sleep is. They've gotten used to, to falling asleep and crawling out of bed. But
Dr. Janine uses a whoop strap to test her sleep. And with her products, it went from like 55, with our products, it went from like 55% to 90% restorative. And she tracks her restorative sleep, and which is a beautiful thing. I sleep with 3 food freshness cards on top of my mattress, under the mattress pad, and a earthing card under my thing. And I wake up like $1 million every day. And I abuse my body. Last night, I played 5 hours of tennis. I woke up a little sore today, but I got to tell you, I need to recharge. It's like my little energy cocoon at night. Now, let's go to another topic that you're very familiar with, EMF. EMF, well, my first question to you, you've probably read every book and study there is on everything that I know, but have you ever found a study that EMF is good for the body?
Well, there are attempts to use electrical pulsing medicinally to help healing happen. But there's very specific characteristics to that technology. So, and that has been shown to have wound healing, but it's constructed in a particular way, which is that there's not variation in oscillation. And so EMF, as we experience it in the world, is never healing. It's 100% damaging. It's only a question is how damaging is it?
So tell us, if you could, please, let's go to the, you've been around 3G, 4G, 5G. Please explain to everybody, a little bit about it so they understand, 4G, what it does and how it affects us and a little bit about it.
So the progression from 1G to 5G, from 1G going to 4G, each progression there was actually a new technology that was invented for doing something, which included the 4G was to not only talk but text, but to have a lot of data flow with 4G. With 3G, there was some data flow. 2G, impossible to transmit data. And so what's happening with these technologies is that wirelessly, this information is being sent over what are called carrier waves. And lots of information is piggybacked on the carrier wave. And all of it is sort of subtly different. And the brain is exposed to these subtly variation waves that it doesn't find helpful. It finds it as interfering with its own physiology. It's damaging lots of different parts of the cells, especially as we've gotten into 3G and 4G. The mitochondria are damaged, which are what generate energy for the body, for the cell. The DNA has been demonstrated to be damaged. And I haven't read nearly all the research because there was just a big lawsuit that was won by the pro-health, we'll say, plaintiffs against the FTC, which is FCC, which was responsible for saying that EMF is either dangerous or not dangerous. And the standards have not been updated since 1996. Well, basically the judge sided with the lawyer, which basically said the FCC had not done its due diligence, had not paid attention at all to the massive amount, 11,000 pages of evidence that they had that it causes damage. So they were spanked. They got to go back and do their homework and actually study the research, which shows a huge amount of evidence of damage to the human body. It does that in terms of sleep because it interferes with the brain in multiple different ways, but especially the pineal gland, which is responsible for making melatonin. And if you don't make melatonin at proper levels, you're not going to sleep. And that's one of the reasons why EMF damages our ability to sleep, because it messes with our pineal gland.
Can it cause an imbalance? And we've been seeing a lot of lethargic people. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so what happens is probably at multiple different levels. It's very difficult to tease them all apart because EMF damages the biome. First of all, it messes with both bacteria and with fungi. And certain species of fungi, when they are stimulated excessively with different kinds of EMF, they throw out hundreds of more myotoxins than they're supposed to. Well, these toxins float right through the body's bloodstream to wherever, and they probably don't have a good effect if they're called a toxin. And the EMF changes the species ratios. And then when that happens, that produces a stress response in the gut, which is then transmitted to the brain. The brain sees that there's problems in the gut. And so the brain is designed to do 5-alarm fires on an occasional basis. But if it's a 5-alarm fire every 5 minutes, that's called chronic stress. And that's what just the gut being involved does. Well, if the brain itself is being assaulted, it knows that stress is happening. So the chronic stress response is driving biochemically all of these different things in our body. And the chronic stress response is very complicated on one level, but on the other hand, it's where the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems are out of balance. That's the simplest way to understand it. And we are in this huge sympathetic overdrive. It's like somebody giving you an adrenaline shot every 5 minutes. And if you got that, that's probably not healthy.
You know, I learned something every time I talk to you. Let's go back to the gut biome. Can you explain how it's supposed to work? Like people take probiotics and, because you want all this good bacteria. And what you just said about toxins makes sense to me. If it's releasing toxins that aren't good for you, you can only fight those so much. So explain like what a good gut biome is and how to keep it healthy, because it all relates together to me. And if it's bad, you're going to wind up with chronic stress, which isn't good for you at all. So
Right.
Rewind the clock and take us that we're novices and don't know a thing about the gut. How's it supposed to work?
Okay, so the biome is a phrase that describes a community of organisms that live someplace. So the gut has its own biome that extends and actually connects with the biome that lives in your nose. And it actually connects and extends to the biome that lives on your skin. And all of these different biomes are kind of like a very large forest with a lot of diversity. And if I came, like we're right on the edge of the Allegheny National Forest, if I went in there and I released 100,000 deer that aren't supposed to be there because it's already at its maximum occupation, and I eliminated half of the bacteria, half of the bugs that clean the forest up, shortly that forest is going to be completely in a bad state of balance. And we can see that on a macro level. We know when things don't look well. And so in the gut, you have over 1,500 species of bacteria. And now in a healthy society that's not exposed to chemicals, they have over 4,000 species of bacteria. We're talking about species. So that's trillions of bacteria. And these species are in a balance with each other. They do have dominant organisms, but what happens is when you have the wrong chemicals get in, or EMF, then the balance shifts. So you give a competitive advantage to the wrong bacteria. The second thing that happens is that the communication between the bacteria is disrupted. The third thing that happens is that communication between the bacteria and the gut itself is disrupted by either chemicals. We don't know if EMF disrupts that, but chemicals definitely do. And once that connection is disrupted, the brain knows there's a big problem. And that's part of this chronic stress response. So the chronic stress response drives every chronic disease we have. So if you can think of a chronic disease that afflicts people, chronic stress either caused it or magnified it. And if you have a condition that is a chronic problem, then chronic stress is either caused it or is magnifying it. And so doing anything you can to get back into balance is what I try to teach people to do when they want to learn these things.
That was an awesome explanation, because basically you need your gut in balance or chronic stress occurs. Chronic stress occurs. Not good for you.
Not good for you.
Not good for you.
Guaranteed to be bad.
All right.
So acute stress is not bad for us. We're designed for it. It causes us to do problem solving. We can be greatly creative. But chronic stress is when the stress doesn't go away. The bad thing never leaves you. And then you start thinking about the bad thing. Well, you're not thinking about your gut bacteria, but they're in the same state. They're completely disrupted. So it's a stress that's not going away, and it keeps getting worse.
All right. One of the other things when you and I talked, you mentioned the nasal being your first defense.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
Well, the nasal mucosa is very complicated, of course. Most of us don't think about it too much.
No, I didn't until you said it. And I'm like, and we were talking, you just came out with it. It's, that's your first line of defense against, to help. So explain that to everybody else, because I learned.
Well, just like your gut, there's a lining of mucus inside the nasal passages, which everybody knows about. And only we mainly know about it when there's more of it than there should be, or it's the wrong quality. And so that serves to capture junk that's floating in, and viruses and bacteria, so they don't have direct contact with the cells that's right underneath that. But the thing we were talking about that might have been new was that there's something called nitric oxide, which
that was it.
It's largely associated with vascular health and heart health, and because it causes the arteries to dilate when they may be in spasm. So nitric oxide is really critical for arterial health and getting circulation where you want it, which is most places. But in this part of the body, the nitric oxide is produced by the sinuses, and then it literally moves into the nasal passages and has a direct antiviral effect. It kills the viruses that come in there and lodge. But if you've been polluting your nasal passages and your sinuses with chemicals like smoking or polluted air or off-gassing chemicals in your house, all sorts of different ways to mess that up, then the sinuses don't work well to produce this nitric oxide. But the nitric oxide itself is a major line of defense in the nasal passages against getting sick in the first place, because respiratory illnesses almost always start in the nose.
You know, that's what it was. We were talking about other products, nitro, and you explained that, you know, a little bit about what nitric oxide does besides, you know, dilating the vessels and assisting. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, and the benefits of our nitro patch, but, you know,
Yes.
It's not just dilating the vessels, correct?
Correct.
That's what it was. All right. Now, mitigating EMF, you are incredibly familiar with. I know you have a family member with issues, but we have our EMF Shields on my phone. I have them. Where do you have your EMF Shields?
Well, I have one on the back of this phone that I'm talking into right now.
Yay.
Yeah, I have one on my computers where my hands rest.
Yeah.
Where my hands rest, and on a router, and on our the electric monitor.
Smart meter. The new smart meters.
Yeah, the smart meter, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on that. And we have a Faraday shield on that smart meter also, because it's actually inside our house, not pointing to the outside.
Wow. Because I know now RJ's in Boston. I just asked him, how many routers is he being hit with? He said 18. I'm in the woods in New Hampshire in the mountains. I'm hit by one, my own. Yep. You're usually in the woods when I talk to you.
Yes.
How many are you hit with right now?
This one.
All right. See, I agree. That's a good thing for you.
Actually,
and
none
me.
right now. It's off because I'm just going on data. Right now.
All right. So one of the things is, you know, RJ can't help it. He lives in Boston, so he needs to mitigate EMF. So anything he can do, you know, I got to tell you, this is now my new favorite. I love my EMF tag and my earthing tag. And Dr. Stan put his through the wash. By the way, Dr. Marie did it too, and then she tested it and it still worked because her son forgot it. But and we have some coming to you, Dr. Stan, because I love this, because I've never forgot this at my office, or you won't have to forget it. And I wind up giving away an earthing card all the time. So, but I love the EMF and earthing tag. And I can't stress how important it is. Like when people, if you're in a city, explain the difference of, you know, how much more EMF is RJ getting with 18? He can access 18 different networks. What does that mean for his body?
Well, this is something that I just learned by listening to a lecture about this lady, this lady who was the lead attorney in the case I was referring to. And I did not realize that the router puts out a steady 10 hertz signal to say, I'm here. That doesn't even count the other stuff that is putting out, like the 2.4 gigahertz stuff or the 5 gigahertz. That's different. That thing that says I'm here is going out at 10 hertz, which means that it's interfering with alpha brainwaves. It's right in the middle of alpha. So all of that stuff is interfering with his brain's ability to make alpha. Just by picking up if he registers the signal, he's picking up an interfering alpha. Now, if you have a weak alpha generator here in your brain, and this massive alpha coming in from outside, guess which one the brain is forced to listen to? I mean, if you got a trumpet on one side and somebody whispering in the other, you're going to listen to the trumpet. And it's leading the brain astray, so to speak, because it can't listen to its own alpha signals.
I get it. And RJ, make sure you wear your EMF tag and your card in your pocket and load up your router.
I got earthing cards everywhere. We're good.
All right. You know, Dr. Stan, while we're at EMF, you really explained the towers well. Can you explain to everybody like what's on the towers, 4G, 5G, how one gets thicker, you know, how it affects the body? Because that's what and we're going to 6 and, you know, who knows, 9. I hear all these things now, but explain what's going on now, because
so the 5G thing is very confusing, because up to 4G, everything a new advance represented a new technology that did something different. 5G is more of a concept than just a technology, and it's part of the basis for this Internet of Things, where everything is connected. And the makers of this stuff want everything in your house connected to itself, and it connected to every other house around. So to do that, they have developed multiple technologies. But what they found out is that the highest end of the 5G spectrum doesn't work well, because it's such a short wavelength that it doesn't get past obstacles. So just below that is a band that has previously been used by the armed services, and that's what they're calling the C band. That's what all the fight about the airports is about, because it's a little bit slow. It's a little bit bigger wavelength, but it carries a lot of data, and with enough energy, it could go a long ways, and it'll go through things. And that's what's coming. That's what the fight is about. So when that is approved and started, it's going to affect people more than before, because they're putting up these towers all over the place. Now, because the 5G as it was ineffective in reaching through things, they had to put 4G with it. So every place they put a new tower, they put 4G and so-called 5G. The new thing is going to have this C band, which is a slightly lower but much more intense energy, and it's intense enough to interfere with an airplane's control system, which is what the fight is about around the airports. So if it can interfere with an airplane's control system, it can probably interfere with the subtle energies of our brain.
So basically, you don't think it's going to be beneficial to the body, just like the planes don't think it's going to be beneficial to the planes. Right.
That's why this lawsuit happened, to delay, the release of 5G. Yeah. Because it hasn't ever been tested for safety. None of them have been tested for safety. And the FCC's last time that they said anything was 1996. That was a long time ago. The tech has changed completely since then.
You know,
and all they did is update it and said there's still no evidence for harm.
Yeah, we tested on one mouse, and the mouse lived. So,
like if they dropped the 11,000 pages on somebody, to kill them, but.
Yeah. All right. Now you experience and see everything. I know one of the things you're passionate about, and you see a lot more than before, is Lyme disease. And can you explain the effects of? Is there anything, your thoughts with EMF and Lyme disease, and just explain a little bit about that?
So I became aware of the connection of EMF and Lyme disease because of a physician in Germany that I follow his work. He is brilliant. And he basically attracts patients from around the world. And one of his stipulations is he will not even see you unless you agree to completely mitigate the EMF in your house. And that's been a rule for his before cell phones were a big thing. Just the 60 hertz EMF from the electrical field of our house was enough to disrupt the goals that he's after. So these EMF patterns interfere with the immune system sufficiently that Lyme disease cannot be cured, according to him. And so I started to look at it at that point, and I've counseled many Lyme disease patients since then who have had a significant improvement once if they did two things: they fixed their biome and they mitigated the EMF. They do those two things, the immune system comes back to life, and it's able to handle the Lyme organism in many people. Now, it's not for everybody, but it's obviously a foundation to start with. You know, if you don't start there, you're not going to get much farther with the other things. They will have short-term effects or no effect.
You know, when I listen to you, one of the things I'm learning is balancing the body is important, and how important it is. Balancing the gut biome, and you don't want to knock things out of balance.
Yes.
And when they get out of balance, that's when they have to come see you. Pretty much.
And in most cases, they have to go buy drugs. So it's a pretty good business model. You make people sick, then you sell them the drugs to help them get well.
All right. So we were talking about some of our products, and you are a true researcher, and you've seen the research we've done on the food freshness card, how it keeps food fresh.
Yes.
Explain the benefits to the body of good nutrients and why the food freshness card will be good, just on a nutrient value to the body.
So when you talk about nutrient value in food, the most robust nutrient value is going to be food that you pick from your garden that was organically grown in healthy soil, and you ate it within an hour. Okay, anything past that is degrading. As it's degrading, it's starting to lose some of its nutrients. Now, there's a lot of different nutrients in these different foods, but the longer it's allowed to degrade, the lower the nutrient density. And most of the stuff that is sold in stores is already starting out at a very low level of nutrients compared to the 1930s. This has been studied by the US government. So we know that there are less than 50% of the key nutrients are there in the exact same foods that were sold in the 1930s. And so that stuff, you know, when you ship it a long distance or whatever you do, it starts to degrade and it loses its nutrient density. So the food freshness card has been demonstrated to extend food viability by substantial enough amount that they've won some patents and awards for it. And so that would correlate with, I can't prove it, I haven't done the studies on the food, but I would speculate that that would have better nutrient quality at the same time.
Just so everybody knows, Dr. Stan doesn't speculate. He proves, he tests, he researches. He is thorough. So it was really funny when I was talking to him, and he said, you know, I hate to speculate, but I believe the nutrient value is going to be much higher with a food freshness card than without it. And I love that line. Another product, I know you wear nitro, and we hit on the benefits of nitric oxide. Explain, I'm getting up there in age, like all of us. I think for older people, it's important to nitro, and explain a little bit what your thought is.
So the nitro patch is largely, as I understand it, marketed for helping with exercise performance. And from my perspective, the biggest challenge for people is starting an exercise program. So I'm happy to help people fine tune their exercise program. That's not usually where I'm involved in patients' care, unless I can tell that they're injuring themselves from their exercise. But starting exercise when you're out of shape, there's this phase where you don't have enough energy and it hurts the next day. And so that is a negative feedback, and it's hard for people to get started. And so if something gives you more energy that allows you to exercise better, then you'll start exercise, and your muscles themselves will start to get into better conditioning and able to generate their own nitric oxide. And I know somebody quite well who he was so affected by EMF that he didn't exercise at all. It was too exhausting to go take a walk. And once he started using the nitro patches, in addition to some of the other tech, he's exercising regularly again. Cross-country skied last year.
Awesome.
That takes a lot of energy. So
I love hearing that. You know, I'd like to talk about some of our other products. And you said something really, again, about balancing, that not every product is right for everybody, but you need to find which one's good for you. And let's go to Balance Plus real quick, because the plus became, but some guy named Dr. Stan says, what's maca root, ashwagandha? If you add that, it might be, let's go to Balance Plus. tell us a little bit about your thoughts.
Well, I think we were talking about the chronic stress response again, and how a lot of people feel this sort of a disequilibrium in they feel a little bit out of balance just physically. Their head feels fuzzy. They feel maybe a little bit dizzy. And you have 3 different products, I think, that can help with that. The Balance Plus was sort of designed for that in mind, in addition to helping to mitigate the chronic stress response. Mitigate meaning try to bring it back into balance, not cure it. The Balance Plus, when placed at the top of the neck below the hairline, I think helps a lot of these symptoms fade away and stay faded away as long as you continue to use the patch. And so that's one of the ones that I would go to first if somebody sort of feels a little bit wobbly, that their balance isn't real good physically. They feel under stress. They feel stressed emotionally. Balance Plus will generally help them feel a lot more better in all those areas. And I don't use it all the time, but I use it occasionally. Like if I have done something that messed my neck up, it messes my balance up. And if I use those patches, I almost immediately feel less of this sense that I'm wobbling a little bit. I may not be, but it sort of feels like it,
I love it. A wobble. Yeah, it is designed also to help emotional. We've had a lot of success with it. And just so everybody knows, Dr. Stan gets a lot of our products that are coming out. He got Balance Plus. Tim Coleman loves Balance Plus, but he said, maybe ashwagandha and maca root would be beautiful things to add. We added it, and he again takes our product from here to here. All of our lives, RJ and I have done that. We listen to our practitioners. So thank you for that. In your office, you've had a lot of luck with our Revive patch. In particular, I think one of your ladies gets really nasty headaches. And we all know trying to work with a nasty headache isn't a productive person. So
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's the Revive patch.
Yeah, that helps headaches. Is that
Revive.
So, my first exposure to that patch was actually with my wife, who has very occasional migraine moments. And usually it's mainly an aura, doesn't get much of the headache afterwards. And I had one of those patches on hand and I said, do you want to try this? And literally, like as my fingers are leaving her skin, the aura went away. Now, normally it would take a while, like a few hours for it to go away. But it was almost as fast as snapping your fingers. Now, it doesn't always go away that fast, but it definitely got my attention. And I mean, she uses it rarely. This person that you're referring to is somebody that gets migraines much more frequently. And when they happen, you can see it because the person has stress on their face and they look like they're in pain. But most of those folks still try to keep working, but they don't work very well. They become very focused. They focus on just one thing and they can get that done, but the awareness of what's around you shrinks. And that definitely helps her rapidly improve.
Awesome. Thank you. We also talked about the relief patches for, it being a quote, quick fix without ingesting anything. So one of the nice things, I always tell people if there's any discomfort, try relief and nitro at the same time. But tell us a little bit about, some of your relief experiences using relief or with a patient.
Well, I mainly restrict talking about it to people with really bad chronic pain problems, and they're maxed out in terms of what they can do. Because if I add relief to that, then I know, and it makes a difference, then I know it made the difference. And so the most difficult pain patients that I have had do have some degree of improvement, enough that it makes a difference to them. It doesn't take all their pain away. We're dealing with the worst of the worst. And those folks have a decrease, in my experience, a decrease in their pain by using those patches, which that's a very good thing for them. I mean, if you've ever been in chronic pain and you cut your pain in half, that's huge.
Well, we love helping anybody any way we can. So any way we can get them back to balance. And now, I kind of understand how important it is to balance the body. Dr. Stan, you have been awesome. I hope everybody learned a lot. Every time I talk to you, I learn something and enjoy it. So on behalf of everybody, thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to have you again. We'll think of something else to ask you.
All right.
So thank you. Susie, back to you. Thank you, Dr. Stan.
You're welcome.
You're muted, Susie.
Okay. I got muted, and I hope I have my co-host status. Somebody took my sharing away.
Uh-oh. How about that?
Somebody took my sharing away.
RJ.
Come on, RJ.
Wasn't me.
Somebody.
Let her share. Oh, it could be me. I have control. Nope, not I. Sorry, you can't share anymore.
Okay, I got it. Thank you. All right. We just have all these amazing hosts on here today. We want to thank Dr. Stan for sharing his experience and his expertise. I thought this was excellent. And Rick and RJ, thank you as well. We're so excited to be a part of this. And the timing on all of this could not be better. We are so in the right place at the right time with the most amazing products. So we have some amazing lifestyle essentials, everybody, that's going to help everybody live, breathe, work, play, move, and age with more energy and more vitality. So we look forward to having you try all the products. We're going to go over some specials that we're going to run right now. There's two ways to get our products. One is you can shop and save on the Nature's Frequencies products and share the gift of health with your family or friends. You can do that or as a customer, or option number two, you can be a brand partner and you can be generously rewarded for sharing these products with people all